Now, it goes without saying that in the universe of musical styles, heavy metal reigns supreme above all of them. This isn't up for argument, so just go with it. That being said, I'd like to thank and give a shout out to Brian Russ, the creator and maintainer of the BNR metal pages. That is B as in boy, N as in Nancy, R as in Ricochet, metal.com. A place I've been visiting, it's got to be at least since the turn of the millennia. It's a great repository for everything that has to do with metal. You can look up different bands by country, by genre, get updates on when bands are putting out new material, and a whole lot of other stuff. It's a great resource. I've discovered, I can't even say how many different bands just by going through there and checking out videos on YouTube. So yeah, definitely has been a huge part in keeping me interested and updated on what's coming out in the world of heavy metal. And 2017 is looking pretty damn good for anybody that's been a fan of heavy metal, even if you're just getting into it. I've listened to metal probably since I'd say the late 80s, late 80s into when Metallica first put out the Black Album. So I was probably, when that came out, I think I was probably about 10 years old. So by then I was pretty much hardcore into everything heavy metal. And I've been listening to it ever since. Got a shitload of CDs. And yeah, just always looking for more and more stuff. So yeah, I'm looking at some of the releases coming up out of 2017. And it's looking pretty damn good. You've got a new release by the Italian black metal kind of / industrial experimental band Aborum, who are a personal favorite of mine. It's called Shifting Negative, and it's should be coming out pretty soon. Creators coming out with a follow-up to Phantom Antichrist called Gods of Violence. Phantom Antichrist was a kick-ass album. I went and saw them and Accept live on the, I think it was a Teutonic Terror tour when they came to Seattle, which, even though they played an awesome show, the attendance and the venue was a fucking joke. Seattle, they need to get their shit together when it comes to heavy metal and supporting metal, because their venues are bullshit. Especially you get to see Kreator, a band that's been around, since the early 80s. German thrash pioneers, and you get a crowd of 150 people maybe in some dingy little shithole. Yeah, I was embarrassed for them. I'm glad that they are at the point where they don't give a fuck, and they probably play on the street corner in front of 10 people just because they're such hardcore lovers of heavy metal. So anyway, Annihilator is also coming out with a new album called Triple Threat. Annihilator is another old school thrash band from Canada. I've never been really big on Annihilator, but I do like some of the earlier stuff, so I definitely would check them out. Then you got number 3 in the 80s thrash releases coming out, and that's Overkill. The Grinding Wheel is the name of the new album. Overkill is another band that I haven't been huge on, but they're still definitely worth checking out, and I'm sure there's plenty of Overkill fans, old school 80s metal fans that eat up whatever they put out, so that's good news. Then also you got Immolation coming out with an album called Atonement, and Immolation is one of the first death metal bands I really got into back in the mid 90s. They've never disappointed as far as I'm concerned. Failures for Gods was the first album I started out listening to, and yeah, I've found everything they put out to be pretty damn good. They don't deviate from their style much, but their style is fucking awesome, so why should they? And this may be, the one I'm about to mention, may be the most anticipated for me personally, and that is Sanctuary's next album called Inception. Now, Sanctuary is another band that started out in the late 80s, and then members of that band, such as, I believe, Jim Shepard and Warrell Dane, who were the bass player and lead singer, Warrell Dave being the lead singer, went on to form Nevermore after they put out a couple albums. Nevermore is a fucking amazing band too. Seattle does actually put out some great metal, but Nevermore kind of petered out with the issues amongst the band members, I guess, band drama and whatnot. So Sanctuary was reformed, and back in, I think it was, 2014, they put out The Year the Sun Died. And let me say, if you're a heavy metal fan and you don't have this album, you are missing out on pure sonic bliss. This album is I think it's one of the best albums that's come out in the last, at least the last 15 years. Not a bad track. It holds up with anything that Nevermore put out. And it's the best Sanctuary album by far. And if Inception is on par with that, I am going to be completely stoked. I mean, Sanctuary, I know with most bands, I don't buy LPs because I don't have a record player and I don't really collect them, but I bought the full LP, CD, t-shirt package to support the band because that album is that fucking good. So, yeah, if you haven't bought The Year the Sun Died, pause this video and go and buy it and listen to it. Binge listen to it. It's fucking awesome. Let's see. 6 Feet Under's coming out with an album called Torment. I'm not a big 6 Feet Under fan. I was a big fan of Chris Barnes when he was in Cannibal Corpse. 6 Feet Under, their style just never really interested me that much, but I'm sure there are a ton of 6 Feet Under fans out there. Then Ex Dio, which is a side project from members of Cataclysm, which is another Canadian band, death metal band. So yeah, Canada might suck balls when it comes to politics and all that bullshit, but when it comes to music, they gave us some pretty good stuff. So yeah, the Immortal Wars is the name of the album, and Ex Dio does a lot of stuff based on a lot of the Roman Empire. So Romulus and Caligula were the last two albums they put out, and they're all based on historical context and whatnot. I'm not sure I don't think they're like they may be concept albums, but good stuff. So yeah, if you're a fan of Cataclysm, you'll like that. Marilyn Manson's coming out with a new album. I've never liked Marilyn Manson, but I'll just throw it out there because never know, there may be some Marilyn Manson fans. Broken Hope. The Marilyn Manson album is Say 10, SAY 10, as in one single thing, not separated out into two words, whatever that means. Broken Hope, Mutilated and Assimilated, with their new album that's coming out. I didn't really care much for the last Broken Hope album. The vocals were fucking lame as hell. I was a big fan of Joe Pettick, who unfortunately killed himself a few years back when Broken Hope was on hiatus. The new singer, comes to with my gripe of when it comes to death metal vocals. If you can't understand what the fuck someone's singing, why the fuck do you have vocals to begin with? With the pig grunts and squeals and all that bullshit. I know some people think it's brutal and hardcore. I think it's fucking retarded. So, musically, I hope it's okay. I mean, the last, I can't remember when it was. The last album was, Omen of Disease, that's right. So, nothing against the vocalist. I just, it just sounds generic and lame. The album was okay, but I was, a fan of, Broken Hope up until I think Loathing was probably the last album that I really liked. Let's see. Grotesque Blessings was okay. It was nothing great. Let's see here. Let's see. You've got Obituary. They're coming out with a new album, so hell, you got another 80s. I guess Obituary had fallen into the death metal field, but another band that came up around the late 80s. It's old school, classic. Put out plenty of great albums. So we've got something from them. Looks like it's a self-titled release. Heck, and even in the world of rock and roll, you got Deep Purple that are coming out with a new album this year. I'm assuming it's original material. Looks like it's called Infinite. I like Deep Purple. I like classic rock. Not as much as heavy metal, but Deep Purple and bands like that and Sabbath were all precursors to what became the new wave of British heavy metal, and then to thrash, death metal, black metal, and all that. So they definitely have their place in the progression of the metal as a whole. So yeah, Deep Purple. Plus, let's see, I think Steve Morse is still playing with them, and Morse is a god on guitar. So just being able to listen. Hopefully, if he's putting out some new material with them, and it should definitely be worth the price of admission just to listen to his genius, because the guy's one of the best guitarists you're ever going to hear. So yeah, 2017, shit, man. We got Trump in as president. We've got metal, up the ass, and this is only, come from what I see so far. I haven't looked at everything that's coming out, so this is, just a handful of what, is coming, down the pike as far as metal goes and music releases. So there's probably more out there that maybe I haven't been able to find, or Brian hasn't listed on his site. But you can always go to Facebook pages and find out information. But and there's also another band. I believe it's they're from the Czech Republic, called Root. They've been around. Like I said, another band that's been around since the 80s, I do believe. Yeah, they're from the Czech Republic. Yeah, they've been around. Well, no, looks like their first release was in 1990. So, still probably, we're doing demos and shit in the 80s. The album is Cargueras, Return from Oblivion. It's kind of a concept album. Apparently it's about a fallen empire that's gonna, that's going to rise again or something. But by the lyrics, it's kind of weird. But I like Big Boss's vocals are good. There's a lot of variety in the album. It's not, it's not just monotonous kind of. They do kind of go all over the place, but it's pretty cool. Sounds good. There's, like I said, there's some fast, heavier headbanging stuff and some more kind of mellowed out, proggy type stuff. So yeah, that's Cargueras, Kargeras, Return from Oblivion. So yeah, I just got that recently. It says it's a 2016 release, but I think it was just right at the turn of the year, so just missed being part of 2017. But yeah, check it out. And so 2017 is shaping up to be pretty damn good for music. I mean, I'm going to have plenty to listen to, and I'll probably do some reviews of different bands that are putting out music this year. I'll definitely do a review of the new Sanctuary album, and I might even do a review of The Year the Sun Died. Because that, like I said, that is a must-have for anybody that even considers themselves a fan of heavy metal. You don't got it, you're kidding yourself. Anyway, talk to you guys later. Take it easy. Maybe I'll do an update if I find out what other bands are putting out music this year. Peace out.